What is going on, beautiful people? I am Lee Hammock, the diagnosed self-aware narcissist known as Mental Healness, and welcome to another episode of A Narcissist Explains. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about, do narcissists feel guilt and or remorse? How do y'all feel it? How do we feel it? Stay tuned, like and subscribe for more. So narcissists and toxic people don't feel guilt like non-narcissistic people do. And if you're new here, I'm a narcissist, actually a narcissistic personality disorder. So I've been in psychotherapy for the last 5 years, right? And my therapist asked me to describe how I feel guilt and remorse, because I had told her a story that she didn't like the ending of. She's like, describe guilt for me? And I was just like, well, I'll feel guilty in the moment. I'll feel bad for the stuff that I do in the moment. But then almost instantaneously, my mind will do these like mental gymnastics and start to blame the other person for my actions. It's like a built-in self-defense mechanism to avoid the shame of guilt and things like that. My mind protects itself from being hurt in that pain of this shame that comes with. It's weird, y'all. If you're ever dealt with a narcissist or a toxic person, they might feel guilty in the moment, but sooner or later, their mind is going to blame you for their actions. And sometimes they'll say it out loud to you. They'll say, I did this to you because you did this to me. You made me do this to you. My therapist said it's not real guilt. She said it's the spectrum of guilt and remorse. So welcome back, y'all. So if you couldn't read the text on the screen, it says, so wait, y'all feel guilt? Shocked. People typically get shocked when they come to my platform, when they're new to my platform and things like that, by some of the stuff that I say when I'm giving perspective on how narcissistic people, some of us, experience guilt and remorse and different things of that nature. So I tell people, yeah, I feel guilt. It's just on the spectrum. Because I remember, like I said, backstory, I was in therapy. You know, I've been in therapy for 5 years, if you're new here. And the therapist asked me, because I was telling her a story about something from a few years ago. It was a pretty bad story. I won't go into detail, but it was a pretty bad story. And when I finished telling her the story, she was like, you know what? You don't sound like you feel bad about that. I was like, I mean, I did at first, but then, I don't. And then she was like, she hesitated for a second. She was like, describe describe guilt for me. When you feel guilty about something, describe it to me. So I was like, well, I'll do something bad. I understand that it's bad. I understand that people get hurt and things like that. And then I would feel guilty in that moment. And I feel waves of guilt after it, but like almost instantaneously, because the pain of that guilt and the shame that comes along with that guilt kicks in and hurts me so badly. My mind, the narcissistic part of my mind, kind of kicks into overdrive and starts to find reasons for what the other person did to justify my behaviors. I wouldn't have done this if you wouldn't have done this, so it's your fault. You are the catalyst for me harming you. You are the catalyst for me hurting you, because if you wouldn't have said what you said, I wouldn't have done what I done, so it's your fault. And it's not just like a lot of narcissistic people feel that way. So it's not just with doing little stuff. It's with doing big things. They'll cheat on you. A narcissist will cheat on you and blame you for not sleeping with them one night. Y'all could have a great, life of clapping cheeks together. Y'all can clap cheeks together 6 times a week, twice on Sundays, right? You take Monday out, you rest on Sundays, even because even the Lord needs rest. You clap cheeks twice a day, 6 days a week. They want to hit it Sunday. Y'all don't clap cheeks on Sunday. They go to cheat on you Sunday night and blame you. You're like, but we do it all the time. What's wrong? They'll blame you. Well, if you'd have gave me what I wanted, I would have had to go get it for someone else. So it's your fault. They will blame you for the stuff that they do to you. I tell this to people all the time. I was like, look, they blame you for the stuff that they do to you. They blame you for the stuff that you experience, the stuff that you go through, the things that you deal with. They blame you for it. And typically, if you stay with them after they do something horrible to you, they blame you even more. So if they cheat on you and you stay with them, it's your fault. You knew who I was. If I cheat on you again, surprise, are you shocked? Are you really shocked? No, I don't feel guilty. Why would I feel guilty? If you stayed with me the first 15 times I've cheated on you, why would I feel guilty about doing the 16th time? Oh, because you keep thinking I'm going to change. That's your fault. Oh, you think I'm going to change? That's your fault. So I told her, I was like, look, back to my story. I was like, my mind protects me. And she was just like, that's not even guilt. That's a spectrum of guilt. Like you're on the spectrum. You feel the spectrum of guilt and remorse. So that's not even guilty. You don't feel guilty. So you feel guilt on the spectrum. Like you acknowledge the guilt, but then you kind of brush it away. It's like you see the dust on the ground and then you sweep it under the rug. You know, I acknowledge that there's dust on the ground. I see it. I feel it. I experience this dust and this debris on the ground. But then I started immediately sweep it under the rug mentally, you know, and I started to blame the other person. Like, it's your fault. Like, we wouldn't have gotten here if it wasn't for you. And a lot of narcissistic people feel that way. They will hurt you, harm you, do something. One of the easiest way to describe this is because you know, this is the last day of the Domestic Violence Awareness Month. One of the easy ways to describe this is when they put their hands on you, when they get physically violent with you, and then they start crying, and then they blame you. Look how they'll say things like, look what you made me do. I only get this way around you. You made me do this to you. Stop acting this way and I will stop doing this. Look what you made me do again. You made me, you know how I get when you do this, when you say this. You know how I get when you come home and you don't do this. You know how I get when you do this. I'm just telling you, they'll blame you. And people stay through it. I'm like, this is not me blaming you for staying through it. This is me trying to empower you to just get out of it. If you want to get out of it, if you get in their hand, if they boxing you like you damn Floyd Mayweather, then it's time for you to go. You know what I mean? If they throw, every time y'all have a simple argument, they throwing boxing gloves at your feet and telling you to square up or threatening to put their hands on you, it's time for you to go, y'all. Because they don't feel guilty about putting their hands on you. They might, but when last time they did something bad to me, they started crying. Who cares? Like, yo, if a narcissistic person, toxic person, whatever, does something bad for you and they start crying, ask yourself this simple question right here. I feel like this simple question will help you out a lot. Who are they crying for? Who are they crying for? Who? Ask yourself that simple question. Who are they crying for? Are they crying because they hurt you, or are they crying because they think they themselves and their lives have been ruined? You know what I mean? What do you think? Who are they crying for? Believe he hit me, but he started crying, so I just felt bad for him. Of course you felt bad for him because you have empathy. You have empathy. You also might be in shock. You know what I mean? You might be codependent. You're in shock and whatnot. So who are they crying for? They're not crying because they harmed you. They're crying for themselves, which is even worse because they make those tears. You don't know what the tears are for because it's a highly volatile moment, and then you start taking care of them. I see this all the time where they put their hands on you, they do something horrible to you, and then you end up apologizing to them because they convince you it's your fault. They hit you in your face. A woman told me the other day, I was doing a one-on-one with a woman. She said her ex smacked her across the face. She said something to him. He walked across the room, slapped her across the face, and it's like, you see what you made me do to you? And she apologized to him for slapping her. You know what I mean? I heard multiple stories like that. They have you apologizing to them for what they do to you. And it's common. This is very common. This is not me trying to put blame on anybody. This is me just trying to open your eyes to help you understand that this is a very common thing in the world. And if you're experiencing this, you're not the only one going through this, because they don't feel bad about doing this stuff to you. They might feel bad in the moment. They might acknowledge it in the moment, or they might acknowledge it later on. But once it's gone, it's gone. The guilt might come back in a little wave, but my mind automatically pushes back down. I'm like, oh goodness, I can't believe I did that. Boop, it's their fault. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I said that. Oop, it's their fault. It comes back here and there, but it's never gone for good. You see what I'm saying? If I tell people, it's just like, they don't feel bad for doing what they do to you. I know y'all, a lot of times people ask me in my comment section, well, do years down the road, do you think they feel bad for what they did to you? No, because if you stayed through it, they blame you for it. I'm just keeping it hot with you. This is not me trying to blame you for staying, but if you stay through this stuff, you keep going back to them trying to make it work, they blame you for it. They think you are taking accountability for your part in it by staying with them. And I know it sounds horrible, but that's the mindset of a lot of narcissistic and toxic people, y'all. They are blaming you for staying with them. Like, oh, you stayed through it. You a ride or die. I'm telling y'all, ride or die is a horrible term. It's such a toxic ass term. You ride or you die. You know what I mean? I'm just like, sometimes you ride, then you die. Sometimes you die. Sometimes you die. But it's like I said, it's not your guilt, y'all. I know you feel guilty about some of the things in the relationship dynamic and moving on, and like, but you said you would be. They'll start crying in front of you when you finally want to leave. But you say you'll be here through thick and thin, y'all. Through thick and thin is a horrible term too, especially if there's more thin times than thick times. Y'all relationship rope is thin as hell. Y'all super thin. Your relationship rope is super thin right now. It needs to be stronger. It needs to be thicker. It needs to be better. And you can't make once you start to the relationship rope with a narcissist starts to get shredded and cut up and stuff like that. There's no going back. I know people don't want to hear that. Lee, how do we? I want to get back to the beginning. You can't get back to the beginning with the relationship with a narcissist, because in the beginning they were just trying to get you to fall in love with them. But so they can start showing their true self, so they can start showing their true colors and things like that. In the beginning, they were just trying to get you to they were just probably maybe trying to clap your cheeks and get you to put a baby in you, or have a baby by you. You just never know with people these days, y'all. So they don't. I'm not trying to hurt people's feelings, but I know people just want to matter and just know that you want to think that people are affected negatively by the negative stuff that they did to you. But sometimes they don't, y'all. And that's why I say one strike and you're out. It's not baseball. One strike and you're out. You know, like I tell people, if they yell at you for something small early on in a relationship, it's time to go. I'm telling you, because they don't feel bad later on. And like I said, if you forgive them, if you stay with them after they do something horrible to you, once that guilt is gone, it's gone. And you can't bring it up again. Because if you bring it up, if you try to bring it up in an argument, if you try to bring it up in a conversation, they're going to take it out on you. They're going to take their frustrations out on you and yell and scream at you. If they put their hands on you, if they yell at you, if they lie to you, if they cheat on you, and then they start blaming you for it, and then you say, you apologize for what they did to you, you can no longer bring it up again. Because if you apologize for something that they have done to you, you can't bring it up again. Because they'll feel like you're a liar. You lied. I'm just keeping it hot with your hot and ready. Little Caesar's Pizza here. But anyways, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. Like and subscribe for more. And as always, Matilda, this is out. Peace.